Okay, today we're playing a game on Junkertown. We are in the Silver SR range, and we will be playing Zenyatta and Lucio on defense and Anna on attack. And our current team composition is Diva, Zarya, Reaper, Junkrat, Zenyatta, and Mercy. So, if they have a Pharah, we'll be pretty upset about that, and Pharah's pretty good on the first checkpoint of Junkertown. I can't imagine why, it's an awfully confined location. We also don't have a main tank, we have two off tanks, which is, questionable. But, anyway, it's also, like, silver, gold, SR range, so who cares, frankly? So, specific in the email, which I enjoyed how direct the email was, because we're in a 6-stack right now, by the way, and the email was just like, don't bother talking about communication, I don't talk to these people anymore, I don't play with these people anymore, one of them blocked me, he couldn't handle the truth. Damn. Very direct and to the point. But in the email, specific advice for attacking and defending on Junkertown was, something. First off, we're standing way too far up to, I'm sure, nobody's great surprise. So I had initially thought when I first saw Junkertown that the first checkpoint would be really hard to defend, nigh impossible. This bridge between these two houses is a surprisingly good choke point. The most I've actually seen games get decided on the first checkpoint of Junkertown, surprisingly enough. You not usually standing on the bridge, but like standing like a little bit further behind the bridge and then like shooting down the alleyway that they have to push down basically is surprisingly good for defending, I've found. The thing is with Junkertown is that it's actually fairly like straightforward, because if you think about it, it's basically just like the alleyways and then the big open part. If they get into the big open part, it's like kinda hard to defend unless you've got like a really good soldier or McCree like on the castle wall, basically. The city wall, I suppose. Whatever. Junkertown's a weird place. So, it's relatively straightforward, because it's basically just, like, try and, like, use this area as a choke point, watch for being flanked, because there's a lot of fucking ways you can get flanked on this map, obviously. Have something that can deal with a Pharah, because they're pretty damn likely to pick one. And then, like, the second and third checkpoint, I mean, we'll talk about those when we see them, actually. Like, let's not go into too agonizing detail right now. So, our whole team is standing too far up, which does sort of necessitate we stand too far up, but we could hang out on top of there, like, we could hang out on this high ground and, continue playing Zenyatta. And, the Junkertown, the first checkpoint's very scary, because there's a lot of places the enemy team can get to you, and the high ground isn't fantastic for the defending team, because it's the city wall is pretty good, but, like, these areas are kind of, like, a little too right next to the attacking team to be really good high ground. So this is where I found the most easy to defend, is kind of like when the payload's sort of, like, here-ish, and then you can kind of, like, use all this stuff as cover. As long as they don't have a Pharah who's, like, ruining your day. Good. This is a good color to use on the sky. Yeah. If they don't have a Pharah just, like, ruining your day, I've found it to be pretty easy to hold them, like, here. And sort of use the alley as a choke point. And attacking, this first checkpoint is, like, surprisingly hard to take. I thought it would be almost impossible upon first seeing the map, but it's almost impossible to defend, that is, but, like, surprisingly easy to defend. The second checkpoint, which seems like it should be, like, the easiest point to defend, is, like, the street phase on Numbani. I don't think I've ever seen a team stall it out there any reasonable length of time. So, they've got a Reaper, and Reaper was in there, and he span on our entire team, and it feels pretty bad, man. Our team is really fucking bad in this game, spoiler warning. We're playing Zenyatta, we got 505 healing, and that's that's gold healing, that's more than the Mercy on our team. That's very depressing news, frankly. Our team is really bad. Yes, the 6-stack you're playing with is very bad, and I'm glad you don't play with them anymore. And based on the conversations in the game, yeah, it does seem like some of them wouldn't be able to handle the truth. So everyone was too far up, and that forced us to be too far up. And, you know, we're playing Zenyatta. Our options for keeping people alive are relatively limited, and then Reaper built up his ultimate and, killed our team before we actually had Transcendence built up. So our options are limited in that area right there. So we're waiting for our team to regroup right now because most of them are dead. D.Va did just kill 2 people with their ultimate, but as we can see, some of our team are off staggering themselves right now, namely D.Va and Reaper, because we're recollecting right now, but like, oh, they just died, so, yeah. And the checkpoint is quite far away for the second checkpoint, which is why it's, like, hard to defend. So the second checkpoint on Junkertown, I've never seen a team hold for a particularly long period of time. Best experience I've seen so far is just, like, try and hold this area. It seems like it's really common for the attacking team to have a Widowmaker on Junkertown. I think I've seen it, like, every game I've played on this map. The best I've seen is, like, control this high ground here. Have a McCree, because flanking is, like, try to have a McCree, because, like, first off, we've established they're pretty likely to have a Pharah because of the first checkpoint. They're also pretty likely to have flankers, because there's a lot of flanking options for the second and the third checkpoint. Because think about how they are, right? Both the second and third checkpoint are essentially the same checkpoint, where they're, like, this shape, and then there's one flanking route that cuts, like, right through it, right? And then the second one's got, like, the whirly-gig going around in it. But, like, they're basically the exact same thing, like this huge, like, semicircle with a flank going right down the center of it. And then, like, some extra stuff around the sides. But, like, it's kind of weird. Like, the second and third point are basically the exact same point. Basically, I found the best is to, like, hold up there, have a McCree, and, like, watch the flanks. But, like, I found it's really easy to get picked off here because it's a very confined location. The high ground isn't fantastic, and because the attacking team can contest it from opposing high ground. So, and then, like, if there's, like, a Winston jumping on you, which there probably is, and then you got, like, people flanking around the side. It's a mess the second point's a complete mess. And of course, like all fucking payload maps, the second checkpoint spawn is fucking miles away for the defending team. So if someone gets picked off, they take forever to get back. And, like, it's a really shitty way to try and reinforce, because you have to, like, come out, like, these doorways, and it's just, like, right into the enemy. It's not... The second checkpoint is easily the worst checkpoint on the map. So, we've been talking about that rather than actually what's happening in this game. I haven't actually gotten to play on Junkertown that much yet, because as more maps get added to the game, it gets harder to play the new maps, you know? So, our team is, of course, staggered right now, so that makes it rather difficult. We just heard Soldier use Tac Visor, so we use our ultimate, as you do, and then, well, that just happens to come at us, and there's nowhere for us to really get out of the way, and it happens to kill us and Mercy. So, with both supports dead, both their supports are now also dead. Pharah has pulled off a pretty good barrage, miraculously enough, considering, their team's pretty good at killing a Pharah. So, because they've got Soldier and Zenyatta. So, miraculously, we actually hold this checkpoint, even though we lost both of our supports right at the start of the fight. Our Zarya at this point is crying about not getting healed. I don't think I've ever actually seen Zarya in the game yet, so, they like to go pretty in, this team. So this is very scary, because we dropped to literally 1 hit point after getting hit in the face by the Helix rocket. Miraculously, we survive. We still have gold healing, healing the Mercy, which is a little bit on the sad side. We'd have used Transcendence, though, to be fair, but it's still a little upsetting. So, we're up here. Our D.Va is dead, but we've got new Mercy, so D.Va gets to be alive again. Fuck, Reaper span right next to us. We didn't have Transcendence to cancel it out. D.Va, I don't think, was back in her mech yet, because she only just got revived. Yeah, D.Va did not have a chance to get back in her mech yet, so she couldn't even try to eat it. Get fucked, basically. there was a bit of a discussion in this game about who's really good against Reaper. Basically, it's McCree, because McCree is good against flankers, and Reaper is weak to people that are longer range than him. And if he starts spinning, no fun. He's like the thing that stops Death Blossom at this point, because D.Va doesn't get to do that anymore. Defense Matrix doesn't last long enough. So McCree is the thing that cancels Death Blossom, and he's good at countering flankers anyway. Reaper is a flanker, and he's longer range than Reaper. McCree's really good at it. For some reason, our team was under the impression that McCree doesn't do enough damage to justify picking. Absolute madness. No, absolute madness. Honestly, this game was very upsetting for a variety of reasons. Like, don't worry about it. We just seen Farah bonk her head right there. So third checkpoint rather, basically the same as the second checkpoint, but now we've got the whirligig going around on it. The high ground on this checkpoint is pretty good, because the center area is, it's high ground. High ground is generally a good place. And you can just sort of, no, don't do that. You can just sort of slowly rotate around with the payload, and it's very steep high ground. It's very hard to get up to the high ground, which makes it difficult to contest, because there is one doorway up here that leads up to this platform, whereupon you have to wait for these to line up so you can jump on it. And there's one doorway on the other side that does the same thing. So it's quite hard to get up here. And you can just sort of slowly follow the payload all the way around. Basically, here's how Junker Town works as far as I've seen so far. And, you know, new map. Could turn out I'm totally wrong. Take it with a grain of salt. First checkpoint, try to use the alleyway as the choke point. Second checkpoint, try to hold the high ground and watch for being flanked. Third checkpoint, try and hold the high ground and watch for being flanked. Yes, it's a relatively straightforward map, actually. It's a very unusual shape, because again, it's just like a giant semicircle with a flank going right through the center of it, and then this very unusual high ground that is quite good because it is difficult to get to. Try and hold that. At bare minimum, don't let the attacking team get control of it, because if the attacking team ever gets control of the high ground, the defending team is basically fucked, and you have to get them off of it. So, our team has not really been too terribly cooperative with it. Like, this is the saddest thing in the world, right? Let's just go back and watch this Winston get bullied again. But this time we're gonna watch it in slow motion, because it's just that fucking sad. Primal Rage is the second he hits the trap. Oh no. It's very sad. I've been that Winston before. So our team, we've had trouble working with our team, and their Reaper has been doing a lot of work, because he's won both of the checkpoints with the one ultimate. Zarya is currently using her Graviton while nobody is here to benefit from the Graviton, so that's an excellent use of company resources. We have Transcendence right now. We're going to use it again soon, because we hear soldiers start using TAC Visor again. This is a little bit quiet. There's a lot of talking, so I don't want to have it too loud. So Farah had Barrage, so just imagine if the Zarya waited 10 seconds, honestly, but whatever. So our team doesn't really work with us in this game. We are having a lot of trouble because of their Reaper, because basically he's won both checkpoints with Death Blossom. So we could consider changing to Ana so that we have CC to stop him, basically. Or we could change to Lucio, because they have sort of a dive comp, it's dive comp-esque. So we could pick Lucio just so we have more defense. We personally are less dependent on our team to help us with the Winston and such. And we have some recourse if the Reaper starts trying to, kill us. Because if we're playing Zenyatta, our only recourse is to either have Transcendence or kill Reaper, basically. It's difficult. So we've heard TAC Visor. We also don't want this dude to die. Farah doesn't want to come down and stand in the Transcendence, whatever, that's her business. She's a big girl, she can make her own decisions. We've run into Reaper, and our only recourse is to kill the Reaper faster, or just not run into Reaper. Could we have seen him coming? seeing from, like, the direction he came from. Go back a little bit further. No, go back a little bit further. This is a professional operation we run here. Watch it through earlier, just don't take any notes at all. Don't worry, it's fine. Did we see Reaper duck into that room? We did. You have to kind of infer that that's where he went, because we see him very briefly, right there. But we're also probably, like, at the time, we're probably like, fucking Farah, come down here. So we could have seen this coming, if we're more aware. We don't see him for that long, so, like, I had trouble seeing him, because he kind of blended into the background for me. So now we're going to play Lucio, very briefly, basically just to try and get out here faster, and we've already used Transcendence, so... Basically, their Reaper is, doing a lot of work, and our team is, not very keen to work together. Just, you know, we're in a 6-stack, so ideally, you'd expect a little bit more cooperation. There's a lot of talking happening in this game. We call out quite a few things in the second round, and our team just kind of doesn't care. They just don't care. There's a thing with a Symmetra teleporter. We'll look forward to that. So basically, we just have to touch the payload, because we're in that point where, like, we basically know that we're gonna lose this round, because it's not really going very well. And we're just sort of trying to hold on for as long as we can. Everybody's running around at, like, low HP. Mercy is always dead, so it's very difficult for us to do much healing. Another reason to perhaps change to Ana is that we've sort of been picking up over this time that Mercy might not be the greatest healer, so Ana does more healing than the heroes we've picked so far, basically. So there, Mercy has just rezzed the 2 people that have died over there. We've got a Winston over here. Our team cannot kill Winston either, by the way, because we have Junkrat and Farah as our DPS. We basically have no recourse for a Winston just on our face, which also makes things difficult, as well as not really having a way to stop Reaper either. So we just use Sound Barrier, and then ultimates have started happening, and we're basically like... Sound Barrier does not necessarily save you anyway, but especially not from Death Blossom and Tac Visor. Graviton has happened. There's no combo to be had, but we at least still have a Farah, so it sort of works out anyway. But the fight's still not going very well, is it? Now they also have a Farah, we have no way of killing a Farah, so it's... Basically, we can't do anything against the vast majority of their team, right? It's a miracle it's gone as well as it has, honestly. Because, think about all of the people on their team that we can't actually, like, do anything about. We can't do anything about their Farah. Can't do anything about their Reaper. Can't do anything about their Soldier either, actually, now that I think about it. Can't do anything about their Winston. It's a miracle it went as well as it did, and it didn't go terribly well. So they got it most of the way to the checkpoint. We basically have to get it all the way to the end of the track to win. We're not, we can see things are not, people are not super happy at this point. If you thought the first round was a bad example of team play, wait until you see this round. Ho-ho! So, this one of the most tragic things I've ever seen in my... I choked on what I was drinking at the time when I saw this happen. Watch this. Oh, God! Oh, no! Oh, let's go watch it again, but in slow motion. Honestly, like, the main draw of this replay is, like, watching people be bad, honestly. Like, oh, God. Oh, Jesus. Oh, God. Oh. And that's why Mercy doesn't have gold healing right there. Yeah, she could have got, like, there's a lot of things wrong with what we just seen. So our whole team's dead. We didn't even get out the door, and our whole team's dead. So as you can see, this is gonna go real fucking well. Because, we can't quite figure out how to deal with some Symmetra turrets just yet. There goes, Mercy doing almost the exact same thing a second time, but not quite. So we're having trouble getting out of the spawn. So... Yeah, we're not feeling too optimistic about this one. So here's the interesting thing with the teleporter. We've called out that this teleporter is over here. No one wants to help us with it, so we just have to spend about 20 days and nights just fucking breaking it, and then Sim comes over and gets us. Like, half their team is dead, but, like, no one wanted to come help kill the teleporter, so we killed it, as Anna, of all fucking people. Took a while, but we got there. And, Jesus Christ. Our team is basically like, Reaper was like, you said it was on the right, I went to look for it and I couldn't find it. We were like on the right by our spawn, he's like off over in this area, like I don't understand, where is it? We call out at one point that like D.Va is killing us behind our team and nobody comes back to help us, and it was like, where's D.Va? It was so terrible. I'm so glad you don't play with these. Here it comes. It's coming up. So, I'm so glad you don't play with these people anymore, frankly. So, D.Va's back here, and somebody's like, where's D.Va? The Mercy who just, like, swung past the D.Va a second ago is like, where's D.Va? So, we've got Nano Boost, which is cool. We don't have that many great Nano Boost targets on our team. So we have, basically, Reaper is the best we've got. D.Va's okay, but, like, Reaper or, like, Pharah are, like, the best we've got. Neither are, right, Reaper's better than Pharah, neither are fantastic, so Reaper staggered himself as well over there. I'll spoil the surprise, we don't capture the first checkpoint. Okay, like, as shocking as this may be, we don't do it. Here's D.Va again. Reaper is actually here to help us kill D.Va this time, but she's got self-destruct, Zari is dead now. Reaper's okay, because he's got Wraith form. I would just nano boost the Reaper right there, because Reaper doesn't necessarily need his ultimate to benefit from nano boost, because just shotguns are easy to hit people with, and Reaper does a fucking lot of damage. Like, the fight's going pretty, like, decently well. Quite a few of them are actually dead. I would just nano boost the Reaper, because I would expect that to be enough to, like, help us get through the choke point, basically. Especially since they have, like, a Winston over here and a Symmetra. Do we ever even use the nano boost? Because nano boost is, of course, an ultimate we want to use as early as possible. We don't have a great combo other than Reaper, but Reaper benefits from it just fine by himself, so, like, you know, Reaper's still over there. Reaper broke the mech, but didn't get away with his life. We don't need to be standing, like, quite this far back. We can try and stand, like, up on this bridge, because high ground is cool. Because we're having a lot of trouble, like, seeing people right now. If D.Va jumps on us, yeah, we'll be sad, but we'll be sad anyway, so... Like, we're having trouble seeing people once they actually get over there and start fighting. We miss on the Symmetra. Just like, you know... I mean, this is like, yeah, obviously, but I mean, like, just chuck it at her feet. The ground's a lot easier to hit than the Symmetra, you know? And we also want to hit the Reaper, seeing as he's being microwaved at the same time. But, you know, it's not... it could be going better. It could be going better. So we've been rezzed, and this is the kind of res where I'm like, why have you done this to me? Just because you can doesn't mean you should, you know? Mercy's new res, very easy to just feed ult charge with, so yeah, I don't think we ever actually even end up using the nano boost, which is of course very tragic, because it is an ultimate we're looking to use as soon as possible. Fuck you. Feels good, man. Pharah is, like, doing pretty well, because they don't have that much that can actually contest a Pharah. Alright, we've nano-boosted Reaper. Started right forming right as we did it, so, great. You know, happens. So we're calling out that the teleporter's behind us. Sim's on us. We can't do... All our cooldowns were up, so we couldn't... We're down, rather, so we couldn't really do anything about that. And we were sort of isolating ourselves from our team, but also... Team probably doesn't help. Yeah, when we're in a 6-stack, you kind of expect your team to help you, but I don't expect the team to actually help in this situation. Oh, it was a travesty of a game, wasn't it? Oh, wasn't it just absolutely terrible? And, You couldn't hear everything that was happening. Trust me, it's a complete travesty. The takeaway from this game is that if your team doesn't want to work together, you have very limited options. Because if you see a way that this game goes, like, we affect the outcome of this game significantly, please do tell me, because I'd love to hear about it. Because I don't see any way, like, okay, like a couple things, like we could have seen the Reaper coming, you know, we could have seen the Reaper coming, like, the Sim probably shouldn't have been able to kill the Reaper at the end, you know. Like, there's things that could have gone better. But do you think that, like, this game, there's any way we affect the outcome of this game? Nah, if your team doesn't want to work together, your team doesn't want to work together. There's not much you can do about that, really. And it's funny, because we were in a 6-stack. That guy got removed from the group. Good talk, team. There was a lot of blaming and a lot of excuse looking during the game as well. It was very, very tragic. So, in the email a specific question had was, because we've seen exclamation before. Basically, I had said a while ago that I expected you to climb to Plat, and you said you hadn't climbed to Plat, and that since, like, August, you've been stuck, between 1900 and 2100, something like that. And the question in there was, do you see any aspect of my play that looks like it would be stopping me from climbing? I mean, this is a hard game to judge it off of, because, I mean, but no, not, like, based off the other games, not especially. I am surprised that you haven't climbed. There's a couple of people that, I expected to climb, and I've been surprised that they haven't climbed yet. You're one of them. Meta Skipper, another one who we see regularly. I'm surprised he hasn't climbed higher by this point. I don't know, it seems to happen to some people where I'm like, this person should be higher, but then they don't seem to climb, and I can never really, there are a couple of people I've not really been able to figure out why. This game is, of course, hard to judge. Part of it is probably playing supports, because it's hard to have a big impact in a game. Not to say you can't have a big impact in a game as a support, but it is harder. I mean, I'm trying to think about the other games that I've seen as well. What it probably is, because I think you mostly play supports. It's probably dying too much, if anything, overall, because staying alive is a really important part of playing a support. And you play like Zenyatta and Anna mostly, I think. I might be getting you mixed up with somebody else. I've seen a lot of games, okay? It's hard to keep them all in mind. It's probably dying too much, if I had to guess, but it's hard to, like, this game doesn't really give too much away, because, you do need a team to win in Overwatch, unfortunately. So, there was this, series I've seen somebody else upload that was like how not to die as all the supports, which was really good, and I'll have to remember to link that, because is way more insightful than me, frankly. And if I had to guess, it's probably dying too much, because that is, tends to be the things in lower SRs that hold people down. But, just saying dying too much is not necessarily the greatest thing, so I'll, like, try and remember to link that, because it was pretty good. There was one like Mercy. Mercy's like totally different now, so like, you know, but you also said you don't play Mercy, so fair enough. Nothing immediately springs to mind as to why it would be holding you back. Part of it is probably playing supports, and like, but if I had to guess, oh god, what a professional operation. It's probably dying too much. So, this was not perhaps the most insightful, video in the world, but hopefully it was at least entertaining to see people being absolutely terrible in a sort of like schadenfreude kind of way, you know. So, thank you very much for watching if you did. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. I'm more than happy to answer, and I hope you found the video helpful. And if you felt I didn't answer your question adequately, you know, like, you know, tell me. I'll try to go further into it. So, thank you for watching. Yeah. Oh god, it was terrible.